up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. If you're interested in superhero movies and you like my content, go ahead and subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out the links in the description to follow me on Twitter and pledge to my Patreon account and check out the podcast that I'm on. So if you're new to the channel, thanks for checking us out. If you're not new, welcome back. So some of you have probably seen that Kevin Smith's YouTube channel, Fat Man on Batman, he recently had a video that has been getting a lot of buzz due to the confirmations that were coming from that video on stuff that was cut from Justice League. And it's like, the more stuff we find out that is confirmed to be changed, deleted, cut, whatever, from the original version of Justice League, Zack Snyder's version, just gets more and more frustrating. No matter how much you enjoy the movie, it's hard to hear this stuff that we could have seen had they not wanted to change so much of Zack Snyder's version. And I'm saying Zack Snyder's version because I feel like that's not exactly what we got in the theater, even though Warner Brothers and stuff was telling us that we're going to get Zack Snyder's movie. And seeing all this stuff that was taken out doesn't feel like that's what we got, because so much stuff was changed or deleted or cut, didn't make the movie. And so one of the biggest things, I can't remember because he was reading all the stuff that was, you know, changed or deleted or cut from the movie, and there was a woman in the audience who is unidentified, because she's probably, well, not probably, she's not supposed to be talking about what she saw in the movie, in the screening that she saw, the test screening, but she was confirming or denying certain things. Not necessarily denying, but, you know, she didn't see everything in her test screening that was mentioned. But that doesn't mean that it didn't exist. It just means maybe she didn't see it in the test screening. So one of the biggest things that she did confirm was in the version that she test screened of Justice League was Darkseid. Now, I guess Darkseid was supposed to show up, I think, what was that scene they were talking about? I think that he actually kills Steppenwolf. We see him, I don't think it's very long, but we do see Darkseid. She confirmed, this anonymous woman, that in the version that she test screened, there was a Darkseid in that version. And she said that he wasn't complete, his CGI, but very close to it. And she also said that Steppenwolf, we've heard recently since the movie came out that Steppenwolf had his original plan was different from what we saw in the movie. His original plan was to get the 3 mother boxes, which he did, but his purpose for them was that his mother's spirit, like power, presence, spirit, whatever, was contained in those boxes, and he needed to get them together to form the unity to unleash her power, and he was going to use that power. He wanted to get out of under Darkseid's rule, his control, and so it wasn't necessarily to turn the Earth into an apocalyptic planet. He wanted that power, and he wanted to unleash that power, his mother's power. So a lot of his dialogue makes sense in the theatrical version because he keeps saying mother, mother to these boxes, if you've seen the movie. And it didn't really bother me in the movie, but hearing what his original plan was to get the mother boxes, what his original motivation was for getting them, it makes sense now, a lot of that dialogue. So he was also going to use the mother boxes to bring back Superman and use Superman pretty much to be on his side. And since a lot of the dialogue was cut out of the entire movie that we heard in the trailers, one of the pieces of dialogue we didn't hear in the movie was when Bruce was saying, I had a dream, it was the end of the world, etc. We didn't hear that in the movie, but I guess part of that was he was telling the team is that we need to bring back Superman before Steppenwolf does, otherwise it's not going to be good. Superman is going to be like a tyrant, pretty much. And we see that how we get tied back into the nightmare sequence in Batman vs. Superman. And so I guess, Superman, when he comes to help the team fight Steppenwolf, he's about to defeat Steppenwolf. And then Steppenwolf suddenly shows him briefly what he can be if he joins his side. And we get that scene back to the nightmare sequence where Superman is ruling, pretty much, the soldiers are kneeling to him and all that stuff. We get a flashback to that, and he's like seeing what he could be if he joins Steppenwolf. And Superman snaps out of it and gives like a final blow to Steppenwolf or whatever. And I think, if I remember correctly, that's when Darkseid shows up, briefly. But man, there was a lot of other stuff actually that they discussed. For instance, part of the scene where Clark and Lois are in the field on the Kent farm, before Lois comes out to talk to him, Clark has one of those scenes where he's talking to his dad, like in Batman vs. Superman, when he goes up on the mountain and he has that conversation with his father. I guess you can kind of call it a dream sequence since his dad's not alive, but you know what I mean. And his dad is telling him you can, embrace yourself and make a difference in this world, whether good or bad, and kind of giving Clark the confidence that he needs to embrace himself as Superman. And it ties back into, what we've seen in Batman vs. Superman. Also, I think there was, also when they get to the Kent farm, after Superman comes back and he's with Lois and he takes them there, I guess he's still confused, which makes sense. He's not just gonna snap out of it, which is kind of how they made it seem in the movie. But he's still confused, and there's people like near the farm that are trying to take pictures of him. And since his powers and his sensors are kind of going haywire like they were when he was fighting the other Justice League members, when he came back, he tries to, I don't want to say attack, but he kind of, I guess since his powers are going haywire, that's what happens. He tries to attack these people, and his mom uses to calm him down, she uses that little speech that she gave him in Man of Steel when he's a kid, and she's saying, picture my voice as an island and all that stuff, to bring him back down, to calm him down, and it calms him down. So there were all these tie-ins to Batman v Superman and Man of Steel that we didn't get to see in the movie, and it makes sense because there would have been a more natural progression for Clark when he came back, instead of just all of a sudden he's fine after trying to attack all the Justice League members because he was clearly confused and super overpowered. It makes sense that he would have, this more natural progression of coming back down and, not trying to attack people. So it's just, it's so frustrating. And I think one of the credit scenes was also going to be Bruce being woken up in the night by a green light, and these two lanterns were going to be visiting him. And I loved the credit scenes, don't get me wrong, but that would have been great to see also. And there was also going to be a scene in the movie where Deathstroke is breaking Lex out of prison, and that also makes sense because I I remember hearing that a rumor that there was going to be a scene like that in the movie, like way before the movie came out. And of course, spoiler alert, in the last credit scene, we see Destro going to meet Lex on his yacht, and it makes sense that maybe he's probably, makes sense that he's the one who broke him out. And there was just lots and lots of things. Batman was going to be willing to sacrifice himself in the final battle because he felt like after what happened between him and Superman and BVS, he felt like he kind of like he needed to do that to atone for what he did in the previous movie. But Aquaman, I believe, and Wonder Woman stop him and say that, it's not going to do any good for you to do this. This is not the way to do it. And there was a lot of stuff that was either changed or cut out. And it seems like the changes or the stuff that was cut was basically done to distance this movie from BVS and from Man of Steel as much as possible because of the controversy that surrounded those movies. And there was going to be more scenes with Cyborg. Oh, Cyborg was going to be ripped apart by Steppenwolf, essentially being killed, which he does get ripped apart by Steppenwolf, but it's just his leg and they put it back together right away. But I guess Bruce was going to try to bring him back in the Batcave, and yeah. Of course, the scene of Barry saving Iris in that scene in the trailer where he breaks the glass, of course that didn't make it. There was a lot of stuff that was changed or didn't make it, and I'm sure you guys have seen all this floating around anyway on social media since the past week or so. But it's really just seems like they wanted to make people forget BVS and Man of Steel and just make this a completely different movie. And it's not, there's no connections really, and no tie-ins as much to those movies as there should have been. And it seems like a lot of this stuff that was cut or changed included a lot of it, tie-ins to those movies to make it feel like a trilogy, which it should have. And it's like they just wanted to distance themselves from Snyder as much as possible, and they were too afraid to let Justice League be anything similar to those movies in any way. And that's really a shame, because even this anonymous woman that was on Kevin Smith's show in the audience, she said that she liked that version better. This version that she test screened that had all this stuff that they were talking about, she liked that version better. And I think a lot of people would have, I mean, like I said, we can enjoy and appreciate this movie the way it is, but when it's obvious how much was changed or taken out, it's hard not to be frustrated and feel cheated. And I think a lot of fans have been very vocal about that since seeing the movie. And it's just unfortunate that that happened to Zack Snyder and the fans. And I don't know. Someone commented on, was it on my channel or was it on Twitter? I think it might have been on my last video, I don't remember, or the video about WB and Zack Snyder, that, and this makes sense, I don't know, was it on Twitter? You guys have to tell me, I don't know. Someone said that they don't think we'll see, I think it was on Twitter, something I posted, I tweeted. They don't think that we'll see a response from Warner Brothers as far as getting a Zack Snyder cut or deleted scenes or an extended cut of some sort, and while Justice League is still in theaters. And I think that that's a good point. I think if they come out and say, yeah, we're gonna release whatever we have of Zack Snyder's version, or we're gonna release the home release will have this, this, and this. I think if they say that too soon, then, people will stop going to see it in theaters and they'll just wait for the home release. They'll probably definitely stop making money in theaters if they release, if they come out and make a statement that they're going to release something that we want to see on the home release. But I hope that they do give a response at some point. I think there's enough of an outcry for them to say something, give us some kind of response, you know. So hopefully they do, and I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. But let me know, would you guys have rather have seen that version of all this stuff that was taken out, Zack Snyder's version, or do you not really care? Or let me know what you guys think. If you haven't seen that video, check out Kevin Smith's channel, Fat Man on Batman, and watch that video so you can get all the details about stuff that was cut or changed in the movie if you're interested. And let me know what you guys think. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Check out the links in the description, and we'll see you next time.